Therefore, I've said already in the last days, yes, we have to do more to defend Ukraine. Yes, we have to do more also on tanks. But the most important and the crucial part is that we do it together and that we do not do the blame game in Europe, because we are fighting a war against Russia and not against each other. Thank you.
This is really just all about projecting unity, a PR exercise, essentially. Berlin said that it wouldn't send modern Leopard tanks unless Washington sent its Abrams tanks. Apparently, it was enough for word to come out of Washington on Tuesday that the U.S. would do that, for Germany to promptly take a flying leap, sending 14 of its own Leopards and allowing other European countries to send theirs as well. So now Germany finds itself leading the way in escalating a military conflict for Europe and the West. Yeah, that's always turned out super well. So it's hardly surprising that some German politicians are pretty upset about all of this right now.
The delivery of Leopard battle tanks, which lifts another taboo, potentially takes us closer to World War III than towards peace in Europe. The decision to continue making Germany a war party doesn't have the support of the majority of the population. Leopard tanks are the prelude to a possible slide towards a catastrophe.
So the German public is split on the tank issue. An MDR survey found that 94% of listeners are against the deliveries, but that was before the broadcaster said that it wasn't representative. Yeah, that would kind of be a bit inconvenient. According to an Infratest survey, 54% of Germans were in favor of sending the tanks, and the ARD Morning Magazine found 46% in favor, so roughly split half for and half against sending the tanks. But no real sign of any massive public outcry in Germany to send these tanks to Ukraine, if the people say ever mattered. Remember, Foreign Affairs Minister Annalena Baerbock said not that long ago that she personally would do what it took for Ukraine, regardless of what Germans thought. So now it's a race to see whose tanks can get blown up first. It's hard to imagine this playing out any other way, because it's not like there's air superiority to protect them. There have also been issues with German fighting vehicles in the past. Its Puma infantry fighting vehicles didn't survive a recent military exercise. None, as in 0 of these vehicles were operational afterwards. And these Leopard 2 tanks, the same ones heading to Ukraine, were used by Turkey against ISIS in Syria and ended up destroyed by things like anti-tank missiles, IEDs, rockets, and mortars. Actual Pumas and Leopards should probably sue for defamation. It sounds like these cat vehicles are more ready for a petting zoo than for battle. And apparently they're also high maintenance too. And it's unclear whether the Ukrainians will have the training necessary to maintain and handle these Leopards. The whole tank issue is mainly a PR exercise that allows NATO to project unity. Just a few days ago, NATO had an image problem, with Western press reports suggesting a fracture of the alliance over the tank issue. But actual Western military experts have expressed skepticism over the real value of these tanks on the battlefield.
How anyone thinks that 14 Challenger tanks or 14 Leopard tanks or 14 M1s will make any damn difference is beyond my imagination. You have the feeling that in Washington, we've got to get the most out of our investment in this Ukraine proxy war. And you do that by postponing an end to the conflict. You drag it out and drag it out. But that seems to be the strategy or the goal of the current strategy, if you want to call it that.
Oh, but guess what? Tanks getting blown up mean that more have to be made, which means that the undisputed winner of this whole tank debate is the military-industrial complex. Don't take my word for it. Just ask Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky.
Everyone can become a big business by working with Ukraine in all sectors, from weapons and defense to construction, from communication to agriculture, from transport to IT, from banks to medicine.
Everybody can make money in weapons sector working with Ukraine, clearly. It looks like the American Abrams tanks won't arrive by the spring. That's according to Western press reports citing U.S. officials. So the Leopards will be first up in this circus and also in the firing line. And everyone will be watching to see how they manage with their jumping through the flaming hoops test. Maybe the U.S. can even sell Europe some replacements for those, particularly if they fail and leave the audience disappointed.